hear this word career, what comes to your mind? What do you think about the career that you've had, that your parents had, that people around you have? Take a moment before we start explaining this concept and think about this. What does a career mean to me? Now, in the narrow sense, the word career means the occupation, the work that an individual does that occupies his day, and he is doing this work to fulfill his needs of survival, connection, and power. Survival meaning to get material resources where he can have money, a home, food, some clothes to wear, all of that are survival needs. For connection, where we go out and we meet people and we connect with people, and our social needs are also fulfilled by work. And of course, the need for power, the need to influence other people, the need to have the power to make an impact on society. In a narrow sense, that is what career means. However, if we take the broader sense, career stands for the metaphorical journey that an individual undertakes through his life, through learning, work, and other aspects of life. When we look at the root word where this term comes from, it comes from the Latin word carus, and that means a chariot. Chariot being that vehicle which carries us on a journey. So that is the root from where the word career comes from. The Oxford Dictionary in English talks about career as the individual's course or progress through life. Now, some people talk about career only from the perspective of work aspects, where people have special training and a formal education. However, if we take this as our foundation of the term career, then how do we explain the careers of those people who don't have special training, who don't have a formal education? And there are so many of such people. What about those people who are, say, in the farming sector, or who've learned the tricks of the trade by observing, by experience, just because they were working in the workshop? What about those students or those individuals who've learned how to make artifacts or handicrafts or jewelry by sitting in the workshops along with their fathers? So, if we were to take the explanation of career only as work related, we are taking them out. That is why the organizational behavior researchers gave this definition of career, where they said that career is the person's experience in the workspace and other related experiences in or outside an organization, and which follows a unique pattern for an individual across the lifespan. Now, this is an interesting definition or explanation of the term career that we can relate to, because it talks about an individual's experiences in the workspace and in other aspects of life. It talks about an individual's experiences inside an organization and outside. So that takes care of those people who are no longer working within an organization but are now, say, freelancing or are working as consultants, or who aim to work like that. And of course, it talks about the career as a pattern which an individual follows across his lifespan, starting from learning when they're in school, where they are preparing to become people in a career, then when they are at work in the career as it's moving forward, and finally when they are towards retirement and post that once they have finished with their career. So the definition given by the organizational behavior researchers seems a pretty comprehensive one that one can choose to relate to, but do not take my word for it. Go and read up on careers, what does it mean, and understand that for yourselves. In fact, that would be an interesting homework to start this module with. When an individual comes to you for counseling or for guidance, the entire process of career decision can be an overwhelming one for anybody. That is why the more we understand this process, the more we control it. And the more we feel in control, the more confident we are. And of course, when I say we, I mean the person in front of you, that's the individual who's come to you for guidance. And of course, you as a person who is guiding that individual. We need to understand the influences which are biological, psychological, social, and cultural, which impact career choices, career changes, and how an individual adapts to all those changes and keeps moving on. In the career developmental model, we talk about four aspects: the self, the options, the matches, and the action. When we talk about self, it is basically assessment of who am I, what do I want, what interests me, what are my skills, what do I ultimately aspire for. When we talk about options, it is about exploration about what is available in the job market, what are the trends. If I take up a certain career, what is the growth in that career? What is the scope? Where will it lead me to? When we talk about a match, this talks about setting up a decision and goals. That what are the options after my exploration that I have found which now match with my assessment of who I and what I want, and how do they sync together? Is there only one match? Let me at least have one or two matches so that I have a plan A and a plan B, and why not a plan C as well, to be very, very prepared for the future. And finally, the fourth aspect is the action, where now we start to take up actions based on our planning, which will take into account the entrance exams, the study required, the subjects that I need to take, all of that. So, self, option, matches, and the action. These are the four aspects of the career developmental model, and we'll take up each one of them in detail in the next slides.